So let's have a lesson on this work by Mozart, and if you already have the music, just follow the lesson for free and pick up all the tips, but if you need the music, you can follow the link underneath the video. I have a sheet music edition of it. So this is a work by Mozart from his Don Giovanni, and this is a 19th century arrangement by Catharina Pratten, also known as Madame Sidney Pratten. She's a German guitarist and music teacher, and she later ended up in London. And this comes from her guitar school, her guitar method book, which isn't hugely well known, but it's getting to be better known these days. So this is a nice little arrangement of the song. And I think what I'll do is I'll just go through it, but of course, whenever you're starting anything that's so lyrical like this, you can play the melody on its own. And just go through the whole top line of the piece. The top line is always the melody in this particular case. I've also included an excerpt from Don Giovanni on the actual website where I have the sheet music. So just follow that link underneath the video and you can kind of compare the guitar version to the actual Mozart version, right? So play the melody on its own. Make sure you have just like nice arched phrasing, very Mozartian phrasings, just really pretty and balanced. And besides that, I think you can just go for it. It's a pretty short little arrangement, but it's kind of nice. And when the theme is so strong, like Mozart, the music ends up being pretty good compared to a lot of 19th century guitar music. So I think I'll just do a walkthrough of the piece. So these first chords, I ended up fingering it with 3-2-1. But more advanced players might wish to do 4-3-2. Because then you don't have to shift or anything like that. But I decided that most players will want 3-2-1, so you can do that as long as you utilize this open string for it. And you just be very careful that it's legato. So you can choose whichever fingering if you want, but if you can't decide, just use the one that I included. But if you're more advanced, use 4-3-2 for that opening chord. So those barre chords, just make sure that you, again, utilize the little pickup note each time. Sustain this A while you rebar for 3 strings. Back to 4 strings, rebar, chord, tone. Just a nice Mozartian cadence there. So a little bit of chord work in there and little shapes to make sure you know and you can navigate cleanly, but it's so simple. You just follow the melody. Make sure the melody is super legato, and if the melody is super legato, all that chord stuff, you're just fitting that in underneath that melody. So picking up from that cadence at bar 7. She has a slur marked on this one, but because of the F sharp that ends up here, I didn't do a slur, I do a slide with the 4th finger. It's not quite as strong as like going like this. And you can do that, you can do 2-1 on this chord and do 4-3 for the slur, which would sound just fine, but I just wanted to like sustain the chord a little bit longer. All the way up to the 3rd beat. So I'll leave that up to you as well. Nothing too complicated there. Just when you shift up, keep your first finger down on the string as a guide finger. That way you end up in 5th position. And just like hold on to that chord until you need the 3rd finger, really. not sure how Pratten might have fingered that. She doesn't have fingering in her edition. But the open strings exist there. That's quite a good opportunity. Just 3, 4, open string. Bar 16, I would do a barré on the E sharp. That way you don't have to jump your finger over when you go into that D chord. Just do a barré and slide the barré up. Because then you can just keep it down this whole section. And in a way, the song's over here. Little tail ending. And actually, when you go back down to second position there, so you're up in 7th position for the cadence. When you do this, barré over 4 strings, that way, when you have to include the E on that final A chord there, you don't have to rebar or do any like finicky things there. So you come down to second position, barré 4 strings even though you don't need to. That way it's available there. You might as well just keep barréing the whole time until that final D chord. So that, just from bar 19, that's a really nice cadence there, and then you have this little whoops. I guess you have to do a little bit of a readjustment on the final bar there. Really want to grab the closed D, so you do have to readjust your barré, but when you play that E, just get the last notes there, the D and the D, and then rebar for 3 strings. You have to close the last D because that F sharp though. So not too much to it, just learn that melody and then learn the chord shapes, put them together, but just make sure the integrity of the legato melody is there, and listen to the original lot so you get a sense of, Mozartian operatic phrasing. It's like quintessential classical era phrasing, right? There's not always something super amazing about Mozart's writing, but the style is so specific and it's so rich and so beautiful that you have to make sure that you're maintaining that, especially on a plucky instrument like the guitar. You have to really bring that melody to its highest possible level and then just fit everything else into the mix without disrupting that.